I mean, we've seen some games where we've had 7-0 or 7-6, and it hasn't been near this exciting. And while there haven't been the big exciting plays, it certainly has been good football and some creative football on both sides of the ball by both teams.
Well, I think we've got two strong defensive clubs here tonight. This certainly portends to be a low-scoring contest, and Norristown has certainly had the advantage of field position throughout this contest.
Yeah, and Norristown's done that before this season as well. Is bided their time and won that field position battle, and then eventually punched it in. But we all know that Norristown's is a big play offense. The 2 touchdowns last week, one 92-yard kickoff return and one a 58-yard run. So we never know when they're going to explode, but right now they're still winning the field position war.
Galliano back to pass, heavy pressure, he's sacked. Brought down 7 yards deep in the backfield. An excellent play that time by the Tigers. Penetration that time was by, looked like number 62 for Truman, 63, Damian Goldsmith. And Galliano really didn't have a prayer that time, Walt. He was rolling right from the very start, but Goldsmith was right on his heels.
No, the lines of scrimmage for both times are being dominated by the defensive tackles. That's not something you see often, but the tackles are putting a lot of pressure on the ball for both Norristown and Truman.
And once again, we'll see the Eagles punt. It's Braheen Mitchell back deep to kick for Norristown on 4th and 15. Ingram, number 21, back to receive the kick, bobbled by Mitchell, but he gets it off well. It's taken by Ingram at the 7. Eric Stead is down there, and I tell you what, you don't often get away from Eric Stead. Excellent coverage.
Yeah, he's a great special teams player, and maybe not the best decision to catch that ball while he was inside the 10. And generally, as a rule, you don't like to catch it inside there. But you do never know which way it's going to take a bounce, and normally you count on your punt returner to beat one guy anyway. It's just at that time, that one guy was Eric Stead, and as you said, you don't beat him often.
Eric Stead, a fine player on both sides of the ball, tight end on offense and a great defensive end on the other side of the ball. But I tell you what, I kind of expected that from Ingram. From what we hear of him, he's a big play kind of guy, punt returner, wide receiver, and I'm not surprised he brought that ball in.
Yeah, and I certainly don't think anybody is upset with that decision. He has to be the guy to touch the ball if they're going to score. We haven't seen him touch the ball a lot tonight, and they haven't come close to scoring, really.
And there was a penalty on that kick return also, Walt. The clipping called against the receiving team. And when you're down at the 7-yard line, all that means is half the distance to the goal. So it's going to be Truman ball at about the 3-yard line. The handoff comes up the middle. Norristown, good defensive job. That play goes for about a yard. On the carry that time was number 48, Ray Traits.
Again, Truman's going to have to come up with something to really get it out of here and try and get themselves at least one first down or maybe some room to punt.
Well, a little more on that pickup than I thought, Walt. We're calling it 3 yards on the carry. So let's make it 2nd down and 7 for Slivka. Slivka hands off again, this time around the left side, and again, good pursuit by the Eagle defense.
Yeah, Norristown is stacking that line. They're going with 5 across the front, and they're just dropping Al Zone and Jeff Butler back as linebackers with their normal 4 defensive backs. And so far it's working well, and when you put that many men up on the line, it's really tough for a back to get around the end because the line has him so strung out already. He has to beat more guys than usual.
And that time it was Hansberry on the carry, picked up about a yard before being brought down. Let's make it 3rd and 6. Steve Slivka, number 13, the quarterback. Quick snap, quick count. They go to the outside, incomplete. The intended receiver was number 44, Rob Crozier. And I'll tell you, that ball hit off Crozier's shoulder pad. Bob popped into the Eagles secondary. That could have been a big play for Norristown had they been able to come up with the loose ball there.
Yeah, and Crozier's upset at himself, but it's not an easy ball to catch. It was really thrown at his back, and he just managed to turn around and get his shoulder out there. And it did pop out. But Lamont Johnson doing the right thing, looking to make the stick and prevent the first down rather than looking for the ball. Norristown should have great field position again.
So once again, back to punt for the Tigers. Number 8, Hugh McFarland, and Brahim Mitchell and Rich Hicks will have another opportunity for a run back. Good snap, again kicking from the end zone. It's blocked. Eric Stead with the block, and the Eagles with the recovery at the 5-yard line. And picking that ball off the turf was number 92 Tyrone Thompson.
You know, their first 2 punts tonight, they've really taken a long time to get them off. And Norristown, normally their strength is coming around the end on kicks and punts. That time, Stead, right up the middle, just reached a hand up like he was blocking a basketball shot. McFarland took way too long to get it off when you're standing in your own end zone. And Tyrone Thompson doing the smart thing, just fall on that ball anywhere you are, but especially that close to your own end zone. Thompson wasn't looking for the glory, just looking for the ball.
3 Norristown receivers set right. Galliano hands it off to Butler, and Butler is stood up after the pickup of about a yard, Walt. But I like the offensive set. They were certainly trying to show Truman pass and then stuff it up the middle with Jeff Butler, but Truman stayed home.
You know, it's amazing because Norristown hasn't shown this anywhere, so Truman can't have films of this offense that Norristown is using, but Truman's stopping it like they've been watching films of them for 3 weeks. And Norristown, again, going with the 2 wideouts now, and Carroll in the slot.
2nd and goal now. Butler around the outside. Butler into the end zone, standing up, touchdown Norristown. So the Eagles successful this time from in close, and they put 6 points on the board with 7:51 to play here in the first half. Well, Walt, I think it was a matter of time until Norristown's running game was able to push this ball into the end zone.
Yeah, it really was, and Truman was banking on the run, and that time shooting men into the backfield. Butler did a nice job of avoiding 2 of them, just dancing around them, and had good blocking up front to keep the interior linemen off him.
And Steve Davis, number 7, will do the extra point chores. The spot is good, the kick is up, and it's good as well, and the Eagles up on top by a score of 7-0. So that gives the hometown crowd a reason to breathe a sigh of relief here. And Walt, Norristown certainly winning the game of field position here tonight. The defense has done an exceptional job giving the offense good field position, and this is the first time the Eagle offense has been able to convert it into any points.
Hey, this is the first time that Norristown has really demoralized the team with a special teams play this year. And that just goes to show you that special teams isn't the weak sister of the offense and defense. It's 1/3 of the team. Norristown has really put some games away with special teams this year. They've won games with special teams this year, and now they've jumped out on the board earlier than they have in a lot of their games because of their special teams and Eric Stead.
So Steve Davis will be kicking off once again. Back deep receiving will be Ingram, along with number 7, Jim Gautieri. Davis's kick from the 40. Again, it's a low liner. It's going to be taken by Gautieri at about the 12-yard line up the left side. Good run back. Gautieri finally spins into some traffic across the 30-yard line, but I tell you, he really caught that ball on the fly.
Yeah, that sometimes makes for a real good return. If you can catch that ball coming forward and surprise the coverage, and your men can hold a block for a second or two. But Norristown shed enough blocks and they have a real good scheme on special teams. They keep Damon Carroll back in case anyone would break. You know he's going to run them down. And Norristown does not allow that big play against them on special teams, and that really keeps them in games.
So Truman will set the offense once again, this time from their own 33-yard line. 2 receivers wide right. Fumble on the snap, and it looks like Slivka was able to get back on time, jump on that ball, Walt, but a mishandle there on the exchange.
And that's dangerous. Truman, especially now being down a touchdown, cannot afford any mistakes, as I'm sure they knew that coming into this game if they wanted to even have a chance against Norristown.
And Walt, maybe that's one of the things that happens with a sophomore quarterback. I don't know. I mean, certainly no field conditions that would warrant a problem between center and quarterback. Slivka will try again, 2nd and 11. This time the handoff goes off the left side behind Yoakum. And the ball carrier does a good job of pushing forward on a second effort. Looked like that was number 48, Ray Traits, on the carry. And I thought the Eagles had that stacked up at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Truman does get a very good push off that line. And that's what's making this game so good, is that it's not being dominated on one side or the other. But Norristown and Truman early in the game are both coming out with the big plays when they need them.
There was 6 yards on that carry, a fine run. Brings down 3rd and 5. The pitch this time goes to the right side to Hansberry, and he is wrapped up in the backfield. Defensive play there once again, Eric Stead.
And Eric Stead just held on to his position on the line as Rob Crozier was trying to drive him off. Stead just let Crozier drive him into the ball carrier's path, and then just threw Crozier off. And whereas the back should have had the good play with Stead having just shed his blocker, Stead just held his ground, lowered his head, and made a great tackle.
Actually created a 2-yard loss on the play. It's 4th and 7, and the Tiger punter's really getting a workout tonight. Hugh McFarland's going to have to get this ball off a little more quickly. Here comes Eric Stead again. Wow, look at that punt. My goodness, that backs up Braheen Mitchell to the 15-yard line. He bobbles, goes to the right side, plenty of running room. Look at Braheen Mitchell go. Wow. Boy, there's an exciting ball player. He manages to bring that ball back 30 yards to the 47-yard line of Norristown.
He is a weapon.
And Walt, I think that's a case of out-kicking your coverage.
Yeah, that's for sure. They only had one man down, and Sidney Bull really sprung Mitchell. Whereas Mitchell might have avoided the first man down anyway. Sidney Bull threw a great block right into his man's chest and allowed Mitchell to do what he wanted and hit his gap that much earlier. And yeah, McFarland takes a long time. He kicks it real deep, and that's what happens sometimes.
Here comes Damon Carroll in motion. He gets the ball, looks for his hole. It's not there. He is brought down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Norristown's using their slower running game. They're trying to let the plays develop, and the holes just aren't opening up in the front line. We know Carroll can hit them and blast right through them.
It seems to me that the games we've seen, Damon does a little bit better when he's already got a head of steam by the time he reaches the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, but they're using that one back with Butler and Carroll in the slot again.
Hicks and Mitchell to the same side, the weak side. Carroll in motion again. Oh, the quick handoff to Butler, and that goes nowhere. That's wrapped up also at the line of scrimmage. And they even gave Phil Galliano a shove for good measure there.
Yeah, that's for sure. They certainly sat him down. But again, Butler almost walking up to that line of scrimmage to take the handoff. And the linebacker just shot right through, and Butler had no momentum going to shed that tackle, excuse me.
We're seeing a defensive gem here tonight. It's now 3rd and 11 from the Eagle 45-yard line. This time the receivers are split. Carroll to the near side. Galliano, the straight drop. He's under pressure again. Flag on the play, and that ball should have been intercepted. There was no Norristown receiver close. Number 20 that time on the defense had the best shot at the ball. That's number 20, Chris Becker. There's a flag on the play. I think we're going to see holding against Norristown. That was the referee who threw the flag.
Yeah, there were a few men who were trying to protect Galliano and give him a little more time than he's had at other times tonight. But 3 men coming into the backfield after Galliano and made Galliano throw a bit high to his target, Eric Stead.
And the call is holding, but it's declined by Truman, not surprisingly. The Eagles are faced now with 4th down and 11, and Braheen Mitchell will be back in to punt the ball back. Boy, if this were network TV, they'd be loving this. Can you imagine the commercial time there would have already been here in this first half of play? We've got 3:53 to play in the first half. The Eagles are up on top 7-0, and we've seen a great many exchanges of possession here. The Eagles changed their set at the line of scrimmage. Long count, good snap. Braheen Mitchell with a booming kick of his own. Taken at about the 27-yard line, and again, great defensive coverage. Eric Stead there, along with Jeff Butler. and that was number 32 on the carry, Marvell Rogers.
Yeah, well,
and there was nothing doing there once that ball was received.
Rogers elected to take the short side of the field, and Mitchell, real nice job of kicking into that corner there to trap Rogers, and his coverage knowing exactly where that ball was going, and managed to cover it well.
Also give Mitchell some credit for kicking away from Ingram. We really haven't seen him touch the ball at all tonight.
No, and they're going to have to get it to him, possibly now as he's on the short side of the field, rather than looking long and giving Norristown a chance to react.
Backs in the eye, quick handoff up the middle. Boy, I tell you, I just don't think that play's going to work, no matter how many times they try it against Norristown.
Jeff, they have to be saving something, and I'm not sure what they're saving it for, but
I mean, that front four of Norristown with Darrell Ray and Tom McKernan, Jeff Fiss, Eric Stead, also augmented by Tyrone Thompson. I mean, these guys are solid. They're not going anywhere, and they're not even running behind their big end, Yoakum. We've got a timeout on the field. No gain on that last play. Let's call it 2nd down and 10. The line of scrimmage is the 30-yard line of the Truman Tigers.
Well, for right now, Truman is allowing the Norristown safeties to come up and support the run, and certainly they're not sending anyone out in the pattern that would require linebacking coverage. So basically, Norristown has 7, sometimes 9 men to come up and stuff that run, and that's just not going to get it done. You're never going to run against 9 men, especially the caliber of Norristown's men.
Well, you mentioned before the broadcast the great play of the Norristown linebacking core. I mean, part of the job the Norristown defensive line does is stand the play up and let the linebackers make the big hit. Slivka looks over the middle. Ball was well thrown, but a good defensive play by Omar Jenkins, number 1 for the Eagles.
And that time they tried to run a little slant to take advantage of those Norristown safeties being up against the coverage. In fact, Sidney Bull being the only man behind that play. But Jenkins did a good job to get over as Slivka didn't fire it across the middle there, sort of floated up trying to lead his receiver. Jenkins, a nice job getting over and breaking that play up.
So it'll be 3rd and 10 once again from the 30-yard line. 3 receivers to the left. Single back. Slivka rolling left, being pursued by Ra-Ra Lusain. He gets the ball off at the last second, almost picked off on the far sideline by Damon Carroll, and that's going to bring up 4th and long again for the Tigers, and we'll see another punt.
And those are the situations where Norristown forces the turnover. They can get that quarterback out of the pocket, get their linemen and linebackers chasing. They can force a bad play and let those safeties and corners react to that ball.
Walt, I can't remember the last time Truman did anything but 3 and out. I mean, this Eagle defense is playing tremendously well.
There have been a lot of possessions, especially in this second quarter, really nothing going on.
And the time is 2:37 remaining in this second quarter. If you joined us late, it's been a back-and-forth game, a real defensive battle. The Eagles taking advantage of turnovers, and it's a short kick that time by McFarland. Brahim Mitchell allows the ball to hit, and it takes a Truman bounce. It's going to roll inside the 25-yard line and be down to about the 23. Walt, that ball got about 17 yards on the ground that time.
Yeah, and Mitchell's getting an earful for it, for letting that ball bounce. But as we said before, sometimes the best thing you can do is not touch it, and it's not an easy decision when you're out there on the playing field of what should be done with it.
That kick was high, but it was short by McFarland.
Yeah, and I think they're telling Mitchell, being so short, what you want to do if you're not going to return is just come up and catch that ball on the fair catch, to prevent any bounce or any roll.
Number 21, Joe Milligan is wide right, but the handoff goes to Damon Carroll, and wow, what a stick that time by the defensive player for the Truman squad, number 54, linebacker Sean Fetzer.
And that's really the way to stop Damon Carroll. Carroll that time shifted through the line and looked like he was really going to get his motor running, but Fetzer didn't allow him to take another step. And you have to spy a guy on Damon Carroll, and that's what they did with Fetzer.
A 1-yard loss on the play. The pitch goes to Butler around the right side. He's got a defender in pursuit. Butler makes the turn. He's going to go all the way. Look at Jeff Butler go down the sideline. Marvell Rogers isn't going to get him. Touchdown, Norristown. Wow, look at that big play offense come into action again tonight. The line of scrimmage that time was the 22-yard line of Norristown, a 78-yard carry for number 6, Jeff Butler.
Yeah, that's the big strike that you absolutely know you're going to get when you watch a Norristown Eagles football game. That time it looked so innocent. It looked like Butler would get 4, maybe 5, and he just squared the shoulders, turned around the corner, got a couple blocks over there. I think one of them was 21 Milligan. And Butler just seemingly out of nowhere turned that corner and was gone.
And Steve Davis on the field once again for the point after. Phil Galliano does the holding. The snap from center Fazzini is good. The kick is up. It is good. And the Eagles just that quickly have doubled their lead. And they're up on top now 14-0.
Yeah, just that quickly. And everybody knows when they play Norristown, it's going to be just that quickly. All you can do is hope that it doesn't happen. Try and stop Norristown's short stuff and try and get some points of your own, because you know they're going to get at least one touchdown over 50 yards, and as they've shown, 2 or 3 are certainly possible.
Boy, I tell you, this is an exciting Norristown squad to watch. Folks, if you haven't been to a Norristown game this year, you've got one more opportunity. The Eagles will be hosting the Galloping Ghosts of Abington here at home, and they will be playing a Saturday afternoon game, I believe it is.
Yeah, as an added attraction, it's homecoming. It's 1:30. It's Saturday, October 29th. So homecoming event, an event in itself, but certainly you may get to watch a Norristown Eagles team that's in a playoff hunt.
And we're happy to bring these home games to you on the Norristown High Cable Access Channel. While we have just a moment, we want to thank Mr. Tony Coya, Director of Communications, along with Sam Galbraith, who's our director for this evening. Davis's kick is a good one. It's going to be taken by Ingram this time at about the 10-yard line, and he goes to the near side of the field, slips one tackle, and he's knocked out of bounds and brought down after he stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, Norristown's very lucky that time. Not that anything was intentional, but Ingram was certainly standing out of bounds. He didn't know it, and obviously Norristown didn't know it.
I think that was Al Zone, number 89, an aggressive and good ball player. But with 1:07 to play, the Tigers will set up again offensively from about their own 28-yard line.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Truman wants to do here. You don't want to go in 14 points down. That'll really put them in a hole. We've seen them go to the air some tonight, but nothing deep. And they haven't shown a great big play capability.
Well, we've got Ingram to the right. And that's where they look. Look at Eric Stead. Boy, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Jeff, the roster lists Slivka at 6'3", but I certainly don't think he looks 6'3", and not with Eric Stead in his face, he certainly doesn't look it.
Well, that time they had 2 receivers to the short side of the field, Marvell Rogers and Ingram, and Slivka telegraphed that play all the way. Mm-hmm. Eric Stead is just, he's so quick, Walt. In addition to his strength, that quickness really lends itself to some big defensive plays.
Well, he's disruptive, and that's what you look for. At least one person on every team who's like that. Norristown has a few, and Stead's probably the best.
Hansberry in motion. They go to the shotgun. Looks like Slivka is taking a long time. It's a good snap. He sets up, goes to Hansberry. Pass is completed, but again, good coverage. That time given by Lamont Johnson.
Yeah, and that's certainly a nice little play. It developed well, but Norristown will give that up at this time.
And Truman calls time with 51 seconds remaining in the half. They're faced now with 3rd and 5. Now that's the kind of play, Walt, I would have expected to see on the first series of the game. I mean, that was something to establish their presence, show their passing game.
Yeah, well, Norristown's going to give up a little more of that short pass, and obviously didn't gain too much as we're still looking at 3rd and 4. Truman's concern right now is just getting that first down because you certainly want to keep this drive going and at least run out the first half knowing that Norristown can strike at any time. If they punt the ball back to Norristown and Norristown has any kind of decent return, they have a real shot at putting a few more points on the board. So Truman's concern right here is just get that first down, keep it going.
Well, certainly if Norristown's able to stop this third down play, it'll be the Eagles who call timeout, looking to get the ball back. Although just as easily Truman could attempt to hold on to the ball on fourth and short. It'd be very interesting to see what happens here. The Eagles, with a solid first half performance, lead this game 14-0 on a beautiful night here at Roosevelt Field. They split the receivers out of the shotgun again. They double pump, go deep, and there's nobody within 15 yards of that ball. Damon Carroll had the best shot at it. Kevin Ingram was nowhere near the pass, and now fourth down, and the incomplete pass stops the clock.
Yeah, and that's tough enough to complete, but it's just not going to happen at this time. Norristown had a four-man line. They dropped Zone and Butler back into coverage, and they had the speedy Carroll back there to cover anything deep back at the safety position. That's the one thing you have to say about Norristown is they really use their personnel well. They take the players and get their best attributes and put them in a spot where they can really use them.
Oh, they snap the ball to the up back out of the punt formation and run it for a first down, or darn close to it. The ball carrier that time was number 42, Steve Mangiaracina. Boy, I tell you, that's a gutsy call. We've got an official's time. No, we don't. He doesn't need the sticks. Looks like the guys on the sticks ready to come over, but the referee calls the first down. So with 35 seconds to play here in the half, Truman retains possession. I like that call, Walt. That's a gutsy call at this point in the game. They really didn't want to give the ball back to the Eagles. Slivka back to pass again, down the middle. Boy, he had a man wide open inside the seams. Butler fell down in coverage.
Yeah, that time the problem there is that if he leads his receiver, he leads him right into Omar Jenkins. As the receiver, yeah, he found a soft spot underneath in the zone. But if he leads and puts it ahead of him so his receiver can catch it in stride, Omar Jenkins is standing right there waiting in good position. As a result, Slivka had to throw it behind him.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve Slivka, I'd like to see this young man in 2 years when he's a senior. I mean, he's getting invaluable experience, but I just don't think he's all the way there yet.
This will pay dividends, that's for sure.
Oh, look at that. Al Zone coming through, and Slivka again with no receiver really close. You had Ingram and DeJesus out in the pattern and falls incomplete. So now it's going to be 3rd and 10 once again. The clock ticking down to 20 seconds remaining here in the first half.
You know, his arm is strong enough, but it's just not very accurate, and I don't know if their passing patterns aren't developed enough yet or what it is, but his arm is strong enough, and certainly with a couple of years, he'll be something to watch.
Well, I tell you, Al Zone really came out of nowhere at the end of that play. It seemed like Slivka had plenty of time, but Zone was right on top of him, and again, it looked like the pass was a little hurried. Once again, they're in the shotgun formation, and they're going to have a problem here. I don't think they have any timeouts left. That's an interesting play. They snap the ball to Hansberry. Oh, wow! What a hit that time, put on by number 45 for the Eagles, Sidney Bull. Wow. Boy, I'll tell you, Walt, that was a heck of a stick and an interesting play.
Yeah, and Bull sure took a gamble coming up. He was the last man back. And if by chance he does mistime that, Norristown's got some problems if the receiver can catch that ball.
So it'll be 4th down now, and they'll go to the air once again. No sense in putting with 15 seconds remaining in the half. The shotgun again goes to Slivka. Slivka cranks it up, throws it deep, and that's going to be intercepted by Damon Carroll. Damon Carroll slips a tackler, comes around to the near side. Oh, what a block! Damon Carroll, he's going to have to beat one more man. Oh, he does! Damon Carroll is going to score the touchdown. A 70-yard return with no time remaining on the clock. Man, oh man, can that young man play football?
Yeah, that's the danger, and that's why Norristown sits him back there. It's as much for offense as it is for defense. That's incredible, and that's just a backbreaker. I can tell you right now that this game is put away. Just a fabulous move, and Carroll by right should have been trapped against the sidelines. Absolutely should have been trapped by both the quarterback Slivka and it looked like one of the offensive linemen over there. I think it was 77, Matt Venezia. And Carroll just stopped, let Slivka slide by, and just slid right out of Venezia's arms. Just a fabulous play by Carroll, as we've come to expect, but poor job by Truman.
And Walt, we've got some discussion down there on the field. We don't want to break for halftime just yet. They're spotting the ball. And I'm trying to figure out why. We've got squads for both teams out there.
Well, it would have to be a penalty, or else the half would be over, unless they're calling that Carroll's knee was down, in which case there was still time left. Yeah, Carroll almost was caught back here. A couple of receivers in that whole mess of people back here, and it looked like he was going to go down right there.
Well, we're going to have to get you an explanation of that play, folks, because they've obviously brought back that fantastic run back by Damon Carroll. There is no score. With no time left on the clock, the Eagles will run one play before the end of the half. And Phil Galliano just takes his knee and sets it down. And I think everyone here at Roosevelt Field is stunned and trying to figure out just what happened. I didn't see any flags on the field. Of course, I was watching Damon Carroll sprint to the end zone.
No, there were no flags, and there was never a call. But in that situation, with no time left, they weren't running any time, and they gave Norristown one more play, it would have to be a foul against the Truman Tigers.
Well, Roger Grove is out on the field right now discussing things with the officials. He would like to know just what the heck happened, and we'll try and find out here at halftime so that we can give you an explanation before we begin the third quarter of play. But as it stands, that is not a score for the Eagles. The score remains 14-0. Let's break for halftime, and we'll be back in just a moment and recap that first half of play.